Hi everyone and welcome back to Waterhouse Forde. So today we're going to be cutting the valve seats on the cylinder head. Now if you watched our last video you saw us reaming the valve guards. Turns out that those reamers are actually hand reamers, not meant for use on the machine. Thank you to one of our viewers for letting us know that. The interesting thing is that when you try and do it by hand, actually it works a hell of a lot better. So of course user tools are very designed to work. I should have researched that a little bit more and I should have made sure I understood what I was buying, I suppose. But anyway, no harm done. All the valve guards have now been reamed and all the valves are running nice and not freely, but the way that they should, with just an ever so slight resistance on them. So they can travel freely, but they hopefully will seal around the valve guard. The valve guard will seal around the valve stem as well. Anyway, we're going to move on today and cut the valve seats. Now they don't need a huge amount of cutting, they really just need a bit of a cleanup essentially. I'll show you, we're hoping that we're going to get this on the camera, the kind of the before and the after, so that you can see essentially the work that the valve cutter is doing. Anyway, let's get on with it and hope that you enjoy the video. Okay, so this is what we're going to be using, Oscar. We've got what they call the mandrel, and the mandrel sits or runs in the valve guard that we've just reamed. Okay, so that keeps the whole assembly straight. This is the valve cutter. Now this one, you can see is first of all, it's a 45-degree cutter. So you can see the 45 is stamped in there, and then it's got 1-1/4. That basically means 1 1/4. So this cutter at the biggest edge is 1 1/4 inches wide. Okay, so anything from 1 1/4 inches down to, I don't know, I haven't measured it, but it looks like probably just under an inch. You can use this cutter, right? Now ours are 1 1/8, so they are just basically they're going to run just on the top of the cutter here, which is fine. All right. Then this is the main, I guess, stem. So that screws into the cutter. I will show. Well, I'll assemble it all for you in a minute. Yeah. And then that's the handle that runs through there. So when it's all assembled, what it looks like is.
And then that goes in the end of that, I think.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So the mandrel screws into the bottom of this handle as well. And what that means is you've got the mandrel on the bottom of the cutter, and the handle on the top. The main body on the top, and then the handle as a T-piece. All right. So let's assemble it quickly, and then we will get on with cutting. Okay, and that's correct. Right, let's move over to the head and we'll cut the first seat. Okay, we're looking down over the head now. Now this is there's your seat that we need to cut. Now if you feel that with your finger, Oscar, it's not that bad, right? There's no real bad roughness or anything, but we know that when we tried to lap the previous valve, it didn't really lap particularly well. And there was sort of high spots and low spots. So what we're going to do, let's start with this one. We're going to pop the cutter in. Now, just before you push it all the way down, we just need to put some oil on that mandrel. Right, put it in. Okay, now just twist it. Just twist it. Just keep twisting until it goes down. That mandrel is a very tight fit. It needs to be, because you want it to be, the cutter to be perfectly centered when it gets down. Let me do it, please. Okay. So now it's resting down on the valve seat, right? So all you're going to do, Oscar, is just gently push down and turn.
Okay.
Okay, stop. Let's have a look. You see what the work is done?
Yeah, I think it's made it a bit better.
See how nice and shiny it is now?
Yeah.
So hopefully you can see that face there now. It's a lot cleaner, nice and shiny. We're going to go a little bit more, but that's essentially the effect that we're looking for. Okay, let's go a little bit more, Oscar. Okay, that'll do. We don't want to go too much. Let's lift it out. Let's have a look.
That looks good.
Yeah. Okay, so what we're gonna do to get a real close look at it, we're gonna take the cutter out and we'll have a closer look at the hole. So there we go. Hopefully you can see that. Just move the light a little bit to the side, Oscar. Twist it like that. So I'm trying to sort of focus on that, but you can see we've got a much better face there now. Hopefully that's clear on the video. But it's not obviously nice and shiny, but more importantly, it's very smooth. So when you run your finger along there, it's lovely and smooth. And the other important thing is we don't have a lip on top. If we did, then we'd have to cut a relief, but we're a million miles away from that. Okay, so we're going to do this one now. So obviously this is our exhaust, that's our inlet. They're very, very similar in size, but they are different. Right, so let's do this one now, Oscar, and then, yeah, we'll carry on from there. Right, I want to show you something here. Do you see here we've got a nick in the head there, and it's right on the face, or it basically creeps over onto the face of the valve. So I'm not sure what that's from, what would have caused that, but it is quite interesting. The other thing I'll note is that the hold the light there, just right there. This face at the back of this face here is not very clean, as in it's quite oh sorry. There's actually two faces there, which is very odd. So we're going to see how that one turns out. We're going to cut it a little bit and and see how that turns out. See if I can get that to focus there. No, lift the light up. There, just there. You can see we've got basically two faces going on there. Not quite sure how that's happened, but what I'm going to do is get a valve and just see how that sits in that hole first, and then we'll decide how far we go with the cutter. Okay, we've got the valve in there now, and it sits nice and flush, which is good. But yeah, that face is a bit odd. So anyway, we're going to cut it now and see how it cuts. But it is interesting that it's got, as you can see, as I hope you can see in the video there, that looks like we've got a double face going on.
What's a double face?
It's got two faces.
Okay. So it's been cut a size bigger than it needs.
Well, I don't know. Let's just see. Once we get this going, we'll be able to see where the cutter lands. But it might be that they had to cut a second face because of the shape of this body here. So right, let's get that in.
Activate time lapse.
Okay.
Cue the music.
Stop. Lift it. Let's have a look. Take it out, please. Right, so it's cutting on the top. Do you see how it's cutting on the top?
Mm.
And it's not cutting on that inner face there. I think somebody may have cut this incorrectly at one point, and then they had to correct it. So, right, it needs to go a bit more. Let's go a bit more. Okay, now the problem we're going to have with this one is that where that nick is, it's going to leak, because the face is broken by that.
Should we grind it out?
What I think we're going to have to try and do is, we may have to do what they've done. I think that's why they've done it. They've cut this other face on the inside to, I don't know if it will, but presumably for the valve to seal further down.
I mean, if we keep grinding, then we could grind it out, so it doesn't even matter.
Not really, because then you'll the valve will sit too far down, and you'll end up with a lip, which then inhibits the flow of the gases. Let's just go a little bit more and see if we can get that face to breach that neck. Okay, stop.
Well, we've taken out quite a chunk.
Let's use a screwdriver to show. So the face is there. You can see it there. Also, come and bring the light towards me. There. So there's the face there. You can see how that nick it's basically breaking the face. Right at the bottom, it's just about whole, if you see what I mean. So I think we're going to go a little bit further, a little bit deeper. We've got about another maybe 0.002 on this edge before the valve head goes below the surface, this surface here. So we're going to go a little bit more and see if we can just get enough on there, enough meat on there to for it to seal. We're going to keep going. Okay, I believe that that's going to work now. I'm going to bring the camera over and show you. So I think now you can see how we've got face underneath that neck, and that's why they had to go so deep on this one, and basically we've had to as well. There is another blemish on this side. Don't know if you can see it, but there's a little blemish there. But again, luckily that one's not affecting the actual face, so that's good. Right, I think we're done with that one, so we'll move on. Okay, well, that's it. The valve cutting is complete, and I have to say I'm very impressed with these cutters, actually, or at least with this one anyway. It did perfectly. It did exactly what we needed it to do, and yeah, really happy with it. So I can definitely recommend this brand. It's VTC, and it's as I understand it, it's an Indian brand, and these came from India when I ordered them. So yeah, I'm certainly very happy with it. Right, Oscar, can you dismantle that and we'll put it away?
Yeah.
You will need the pliers.
Which are currently there.
No?
It's just
Let me
twisted.
hold it.
Oh, maybe we could use, there are grips at there, like there. Try that.
So you've got to turn backwards, yeah? That's it. And then when you grip the cutter, just use a piece of paper, because otherwise it will hurt your hands. Okay. There you go.
It's like a wheel spinning off. Basically, it is actually.
Don't drop it.
I drop it.
Okay. There we go. Right. So now we can oil them, put them back in their plastic, and put them back in their box. Cool. Thank you. So if you watched the first video on the cylinder head, you would have seen the result that we were getting from lapping the valves. This is the result that we're getting now after cutting the valve seat. And the difference is phenomenal. So if I show you here, oh no, camera's focusing on my finger, hang on. So if we have a look here now, you can see the silver shiny stripe there, then the grey stripe, and then the silver shiny stripe again at the top. And that's essentially what you're looking for. The width of this grey stripe, it actually doesn't need to be as wide as it is, as in it's wider than is essential, but that's a good thing. There's no harm in that. But what you are looking for is basically shiny bit, grey bit, shiny bit, and that means that basically that grey bit is all the surface that it's going to seal on. And the other lovely thing about this is that it's consistent the whole way around. So again, before what we were getting is we were getting a bit of the grey stripe in some sections, and then it wasn't quite lapping in others. But this you can see is now lapping all the way around. And that basically is because the valve seat has now been cut to be true. And now obviously the faces are able to lap much more easily to each other. So there you go. So that's the result we were looking for. I'm happy with that now. And we will now continue with the head and lap the other 7 valves in. That's the first one, number 1. Exhaust valve done. And we'll now move on and do the other 7. As I said at the start of the video, we won't film that because it is essentially boring. But we'll crack on with that, and then and essentially that's it for today. The next video we will work on that white metal plug, as I mentioned at the start. We'll get that replaced. We'll give the cylinder head a good bath. Get rid of all of the filings and shavings and all of that good stuff. And then we will install the valves, and that's as far as we'll go with the head at this stage. We'll then move on to the main cylinder block and get the sleeves in, get the pistons in, get the crankshaft in, etc., and work on from there. So once again, listen, thanks for joining us for this video. Again, hope that it was helpful and informative for some of you, maybe just interesting for others. But nevertheless, hope that you got something out of it. We thank you for joining us, and of course we'll see you in the next video. Cheers for now.
Bye.